Welcome back to Bitcoin Mastery. In this module, I'm going to teach you all about mining to create a profitable source of cryptocurrency income. Before I give you the mining websites and platforms that we use, I want to teach you about what mining actually is before you jump into mining on a platform, because it's important to understand exactly what you're investing in before you make a calculated decision, so that when someone asks you what you're investing in, you're able to teach them, or at least tell them a general summary of exactly what you're investing in, and just understand the overall cryptocurrency market. Because without Bitcoin mining, the Bitcoin network would not exist. Okay, we need computers out there to solve random math puzzles, to basically encrypt data and add blocks to the blockchain. Okay, so I'm going to teach you a little bit about Bitcoin mining, and then we'll talk about profitable mining platforms like Genesis mining, which in further videos we'll show you the best platforms. There's Genesis mining, Hashflare, and Hashing24. Those are three that we use. But what is Bitcoin mining? Okay, so Bitcoin mining basically keeps the network going, right? When computers solve these puzzles, it adds more blocks to the blockchain. Okay, and blocks are just filled with transactions. Basically, I send you Bitcoin and you receive the Bitcoin. Those are two hashes that are created. Okay, it's just a string of code. Basically, a string of code saying that Ryan Hildreth sent this many Bitcoin to this person, right? And then the other hash will say this person received this many Bitcoin from Ryan Hildreth, and then basically the miners have to validate that transaction and add it to the blockchain so that the next transaction could continue and be validated and added to the blockchain. And then it's just a continuous network of adding blocks to the blockchain, right? So basically, what do the miners use to mine Bitcoin? They use an algorithm called SHA-256. And this is something that you're going to see when you go to mine on certain platforms. You're going to see their algorithm, the SHA-256, and you're going to buy hash power. And what is a hash? Okay, a hash is a secret encryption code that is impossible to decrypt. So a hash is 64 characters, just random numbers and letters. But basically it means something. So if you were to write a novel, basically the Bitcoin network would hash a novel into 64 characters. It would explain the whole novel, but all in 64 characters. But if I were to just say, let's just say I said, "Hi, how are you doing?" If we put that into a hash code, it would be the same 64 characters. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to understand, but it's just a string of code that is impossible to encrypt or decrypt without authorization. Okay, so I would never be able to understand what those 64 characters meant unless I could decrypt that. So that's what keeps Bitcoin anonymous. All transactions can be seen, but not the information behind it can't be seen. Okay, so how do miners hash these transactions and add them to the blockchain? Basically, they're solving puzzles, mathematical puzzles that the Bitcoin network puts out there, and what is called a nonce. Okay, it's a number used once to answer the puzzle. Okay, so let me erase this. Okay, so we can I can draw it out and you kind of understand what the heck all this means. So basically, let's just say this is a string of code, A, B, C, E, F, E, E, G, okay? Let's just pretend this is 64 characters long. That's one hash. That's me sending Bitcoin to you. This is you receiving Bitcoin, okay? It's going to be E, E, B, Z, F, G, C, right? And what a computer does, what the miners do, is they use the SHA-256 algorithm to solve a puzzle, right? And let's just say this is a math equation. It's 10x plus C equals 520. Okay, and basically the computers have to solve this random math puzzle, and these math puzzles become harder, and that's what's called Bitcoin difficulty. Okay, because the network pays out computers every 10 minutes a new block is added to the blockchain, right? Let's just say this is the Bitcoin blockchain. These are all transactions, right? This is a transaction, this is a transaction, this is a transaction, and continuously added to the blockchain. Well, when computers are solving these transactions, solving these puzzles and validating the transactions, they add them to the blockchain, and the Bitcoin network pays out in Bitcoin, 12.5 Bitcoin every 10 minutes, and that number is going to be 6.75, in 2020. So the difficulty gets harder. These puzzles get harder as more miners come into the network, right? Because it's so profitable to mine Bitcoin. So that gives people more incentive to start mining Bitcoin. How does the network deal with that influx of miners? It makes the difficulty harder. It makes these math problems harder. Okay, so think of it like you're rolling a dice, okay? So basically this is how the Bitcoin network deals with mining difficulty, because everyone wants to profit, right? I want to profit. I want to mine some Bitcoin and make some Bitcoin money. And so do you, and so do thousands and millions of other people around the world, right? So how does the Bitcoin network keep up with this influx of miners and make it fair for everyone? They increase mining difficulty. So I'll write that down, mining difficulty, or just put that, mining difficulty. All right, so they increase mining difficulty. How do they do that? So think of it like rolling a dice, right? If the target difficulty is number 6 on the dice, right, then everyone that rolls a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 will be able to solve the equation, okay? So this is a very easy difficulty, right? If it was number 6 on the dice, the chances of rolling a 1 through to 5 is very high. So there would be a lot of computers solving easy equations, right? But let's just say more computers come into the network and try to mine. What does the Bitcoin network do? It says you have to roll a 2 or below. Okay, so this is making difficulty extremely hard because you have to roll, let's just say you have to roll below a 2, okay? So now each computer has to roll a 1 in order to solve the equation, okay? So this makes difficulty harder because what are the chances of rolling a 1 when there's 6 numbers on the dice, right? So that's how they maintain mining difficulty, right? And it's the same for adding blocks to the blockchain. So once computers are solving equations, right, and validating transactions, now they have to be given permission to add an actual block to the blockchain. So they solve this transaction, there's a block ready to be added, right? Let's just say it's ready to be added right here, right? The computers now have to basically apply that same roll the dice concept, okay? So now they have to be able to actually add the block to the blockchain and be rewarded in Bitcoin. So that gets harder as well. Just apply that dice method concept to kind of help explain how they maintain difficulty and mining difficulty and network difficulty. But basically that's it. I mean, computers are being paid out to mine Bitcoin, so there's incentive to continuously mine Bitcoin, keep the community growing, right? We all rely on each other to keep Bitcoin going. Without the miners, there would be no Bitcoin. But without the Bitcoin incentive, there would be no miners, right? Because why would people waste computer power to mine Bitcoin when there's no financial incentive? So that is the benefits of mining. You get paid out, and there's networks. You can either mine at home with a GPU or CPU. I'm not a computer person, but I know that this type of mining, Bitcoin mining, is not very profitable anymore because the electricity cost so much, unless you live in Iceland or some places where electricity doesn't cost that much per kilowatt. But I know that this is going to be much less profitable and almost not worth it, because unless you enjoy building computers and mining Bitcoin like that, then it could be a hobby and it could definitely be profitable, but it wouldn't be as profitable as you renting an ASIC computer, okay? And these are like super fast Bitcoin mining computers. These are supercomputers that, you know, companies like Genesis, okay? Genesis and Hashflare, okay? These companies have thousands of ASIC computers solving Bitcoin equations, doing Bitcoin mining. So basically what they did, Genesis, is they built a mining farm, what's called a mining farm. They've built them all over the world in electricity, areas where electricity doesn't cost that much. But they have thousands of computers in each mining farm. So I know they have one in Iceland where the electricity is super cheap, and they have thousands of these supercomputers, and basically they're renting out space to you. So you can buy what is called hash power, okay? Hash power, and there's different amounts. There's as far as Bitcoin goes, there's different types of mining algorithms, but for Bitcoin it's the SHA-256, and you have to buy a terahash. So they basically charge you an upfront fee. Like for me, when I started, I invested $2,000 into some hash power. Okay, so I rented some computer space at Genesis, or at Hashflare. Sorry, Hashflare. $2,000. This was not an open-ended contract. This was a one-year contract. So I'm paying $2,000 to rent their computers for a year, and I'm profiting about $20 a day. Okay, so that's like a 1% return every single day for mining, which is pretty good. But you have to factor in mining difficulty. When there's an influx of computers mining difficulty goes up. So sometimes I'm profiting only $15 when mining difficulty goes up. And let's say it continues to go up. Maybe 8 months from now I'll only be making $8 because mining difficulty has gone up so much. And at least now you understand what mining difficulty is, and you have to factor that into your cost of the contract you're going to buy. But either way, most of these contracts are profitable, and they're going to remain profitable. Genesis is the one that they have the holy grail of mining contracts, because theirs are open-ended, meaning you'll pay an upfront fee, whether it's whatever you're willing to invest, and they will mine forever as long as it's profitable. Okay, so you will be making money perpetually until you no longer make any money, right? Whereas Hashflare, they only let you rent their computers for a year. Genesis lets you rent them perpetually. So I really like Genesis. That's the #1 mining platform, and I'll include the links down below. But definitely finish the videos in this module, and I'll walk you through exactly where to purchase and how much to purchase, and I'll kind of go through each platform to show you the differences. But that's basically Bitcoin mining. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.